Jean Valjean
Big
carrying
Jean Valjean
Marius
energy.
from us through the sewers.
He's like, this feels familiar. I have done this before.
Bring him home.
5, 6, 7, 8.
There's no business like show business.
Mamma mia, here I go again. My
Of the music of
Oh.
It's been a while since I've watched a movie and then had to wait multiple days to record.
Yeah,
And it's a
no, I was
movie
just
I've
thinking about
never
that. It's going to
seen
be really
before.
fun.
So
Yeah.
we'll see how much I actually remember. But hey, y'all, this is the opening to season 4.
Oh, shit. Of 5, 6, 7, 8, a movie musical podcast.
Beep, beep, beep,
The podcast where we review and, oh my God, what is it?
Recap?
Recap. I forgot that word.
Yeah.
This is the podcast where we review and recap movie musicals. We are kicking off our season 4 with a movie that I have seen and Grace had not, which is very rare.
At this point, it was intentional.
It was spite. We are kicking off season 4 with the 2017 The Greatest Showman.
This is the greatest show.
Whoa! Wow!
So this came out, and it came out around Christmas, and this was during the era...
It came out on December 20th,
Yes.
2017.
And this was during the era where I didn't go home for Christmas for about like 3 to 4 years because I was working. And so I just kind of missed the initial push of this. And then I just never got into it because I don't like P.T. Barnum as a person.
Oh yeah, he's a bad person.
Bad person. And then we started this podcast and I was like, well, I can't watch it now until we do an episode. So it was partially happenstance, partially intentional of me not seeing this for, what is that now, 7 years?
7 years. 7 years later. The itch has been scratched, and it is The Greatest Showman.
Yeah, my God. I don't think I've laughed that hard at the end of a movie in a long time. Which I don't think was the intention of the
100% not.
But boy, can't wait. So I'm excited to go through this.
I'm excited to go through this as well. I saw this in theaters. I've seen it a couple times. I love it for what it is and recognize what it is not. It is a similar energy to Night and Day, where they took a man's life and said, that's boring. We're going to change all of it. This is a fictionalized biopic.
Oh,
A lot of this didn't happen.
Oh, yeah.
Also, he was gay, but not.
P.T. Barnum was not. But P.T. Barnum also did not look like Hugh Jackman.
That's my very first line of dramaturgy is P.T. Barnum was ugly.
Yeah, P.T. Barnum was not this man.
Was not our leading, dashing, huge, jacked man.
Jacked man.
We start this film as it makes sense in the backstage of a circus in darkness, and a spotlight follows dancers, and we get that like low musical theater movie singing, which I hate.
Yep, I could not.
But I will say it morphed into a great opening number.
This opening number was very good. My first note was I love sharp choreo. Of just like the opening bit where like he's behind, we see some risers, and we see our main guy, Hugh Jackman, P.T. Barnum, doing some very sharp, crisp, like movements as he goes through this, and man, was it like visually like
clean.
It draws the eye, and it was clean.
Yeah,
and then it like builds into this song that truly is an incredible opening number.
Yeah, this is the greatest show, and the chorus of "This is where you want to be" builds, and he's joined in the 3 rings by dancers and acrobats and lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! Yeah. And then it all fades away, and he's alone. The audience goes away, and we fade immediately into the childhood of Phineas, middle name T. Barnum.
Yeah, what is
Baby Barnum?
Baby Barnum. What does the T stand for? Excuse me one moment.
All I can think of is Tiberius, and I know that's not right.
Nicholas Nackalis.
But we see his
Taylor.
Taylor. Oh, and his father is a tailor. We meet young Phineas. They are not well off. PT has holes in his shoes. And work seems to be a bit tight for the tailor.
Yes.
And we follow, and his PT is probably like 10 or 11 in this
quite
scene.
young,
and he
but
follows
not, like,
his father.
crazy young.
And not a teenager.
No.
He follows his father to their next stop where his father is making clothes for a very wealthy man who lives in a very, very nice house. Yep. And PT catches the eye of a similarly aged girl who is this man's daughter, and he makes her laugh.
Yeah, she's like in the process of getting like lessons on etiquette and manners and all of that.
Yeah.
And so he like does something silly, and like she spits out her tea laughing, and it's like this big hubbub and to do, and her dad is like, "Oh, did I teach you to behave this way?" And she, baby Barnum is like, "Hey, it was my fault. I made her laugh." And her dad slaps the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Wild.
He's not a kind man. No. Later, young Phineas, and we learn the girl's name is Charity, sneak away to the sand dunes. And it's clear like they've become friends. Right. It's clear they have become friends over a series of visits where his father has visited. And she says she doesn't know what her future is going to look like. Because she's being sent away to finishing school.
Yeah, exactly. So he starts
and
to
he
sing,
says, "I know what your future looks like." And he sings the song Wildest Dreams to her. And we see them spending time together. He shows her this old abandoned mansion that's really close to where she lives. Yes. And they explore it. And they have a fantasy world in it. And then she gets sent away through this song. She gets sent away to finishing school. He stays. They write letters to each other. His father gets sick and passes away. We see Phineas become homeless and steal.
And a newsie. And then the plot of Newsies happens. And then we continue.
Yeah.
So you
and
do
then
have
he
to
joins
pause
the railroad
this movie at this point, watch the entirety of Newsies, and then start again. Just to get the context. Otherwise, the rest of this doesn't make sense.
Yeah. But anyway, the song culminates with Phineas having grown up, gotten a job, and then returning to
the house,
Charity's house, to not ask her father for her hand in marriage, because she's ready to go.
She's already accepted, but I think he's not looking for permission, but at least acceptance. And the dad,
acceptance or approval,
and the dad very much is like, she'll be back in 3 months.
And they start with nothing, but they're so happy. They get a little apartment together. He has a job, and they are pregnant at the end of the song.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're married. They live in like a 1.5 bedroom, tiny apartment. They end up having 2 children, 2 daughters, Caroline and Helen, and they're living in New York.
Barnum gets a job that he hates. It's tedious.
And he gets laid off.
Yeah, he gets laid off because the business goes under. So what happens is he's working for a mercantile company, kind of as a pencil pusher, just doing calculations, doing the bills. He tries to pitch a wild idea for an investment to the owner, and who essentially turns around being like, "I don't want any ideas because this business is now bankrupt because all of our ships sank in the South China Sea."
Oops. Yeah, so he...
Cut to home.
So he takes some paperwork from his company as he leaves.
He does.
Which comes back later.
He takes the bill of sale for those ships.
Yes.
But he goes home. He's dejected because he lost his job.
And he sees his wife and his girls playing on the roof, and you know, and she comes over and he helps her like put laundry away and tells her that he's lost his job, and he kind of laments not being able to give her the life that he feels she deserves, but she seems happy. She doesn't seem upset. I mean, like, obviously upset that he's lost his job, but like not upset with the quality of her life at all, because it's all about being with him and being with their family.
And it's his oldest daughter's birthday.
Oh, right.
And she wishes for ballet slippers, and Charity and Phineas kind of share a look of like, we know we can't afford to send her to ballet lessons.
Yes, and their other daughter does wish to marry Santa Claus.
Yes. Phineas has he got his daughter this like spinning lamp toy. He's very good at selling a dream.
He's a great improvised storyteller. He makes up this whole fake story as he's building this quote unquote wishing machine, which is like a lamp with a can that has holes cut on top of it, spinning so that it looks like a little bit of a celestial circle kind of deal.
And he gets an idea through the shadows and lights of this toy spinning amongst all the laundry, and he sees a vision of a circus.
Yes.
So, what any normal, rational person does, he goes to the bank the next day, and all the newspapers that the men are reading in the waiting room are like, financial crisis.
Yeah.
And he sees, while he is waiting, a little person sitting on the bench who is then immediately not picked up, but the person who he came with, his mother, comes out of the office having just had an appointment and is frustrated because the bank won't give money to
anyone, really.
To them. Yeah. But Phineas goes inside, he has an appointment, he asks for a loan, and the banker's like, well, I'm assuming you have collateral, and he's using the deed of the boats that sank in the South China Sea
because it's
as
not
collateral.
I don't think it's been announced that the boats have sunk. So,
it hasn't.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they're great collateral. This is illegal.
This is illegal.
Fraud. This is fraud.
And P.T. Barnum is
a financial nightmare.
Oh my god.
Do we know if that's true? Do we know if that's
I did a little bit of looking into P.T. Barnum. Hold on. Let me double check.
But anyway, he commits fraud.
He doesn't get into the circus until he's like 60. He tries a lot of other things first.
But he gets the loan, and he buys a building to use as a museum. And he takes his girls and his wife there, and he shows them, like, oh, this is a stuffed bull elephant. It's the largest in the world. This is a stuffed giraffe. You should see, like, they have, like, a lot of taxidermy and a lot of wax figures. And it's a little scary for the kids. But they pass out flyers, and they have a guy, O'Malley, working the register. Right. But they aren't selling tickets, and they aren't able to generate any buzz. And Barnum is stressed about the not immediate success of this venture, and he does go home later that night and find his wife has been tallying the expenses to, like, see where they can squeeze a little extra money. So he knows his failure is also affecting his family.
Absolutely. He goes and says goodnight to his daughters, and he does sort of hint, like, yeah, ticket sales aren't what I thought that they would be. And they're like, well, everything in there is, like, dead or fake. Maybe you should show something that's alive. So
yeah,
Barnum,
you need something real.
Yeah, so he gets the idea of looking for people as an attraction.
Yeah.
So
starting with, he goes the very next day to the house of the little person from the bank, and he meets his mom. Yes, Charles, and he meets him. And initially, Charles is like, "You are bad news. Like, you just want people to laugh at me." And Barnum makes kind of an off-color comment of like, hey, they're laughing anyway, might as well get paid, which isn't a good thing to say.
No.
Anyway, he sees Charles is young.
Yes.
Charles is supposed to be probably like young enough to be playing with dolls, because he sees a child's soldier toy, and he pitches this idea to Charles that we're not like, people will revere you and respect you, and I'm gonna make you a general named like General Tom Thumb, and I'm gonna put you on a white horse, and I'm gonna give you a sword and a tri-corner hat.
Exactly. And Charles ends up agreeing, and they get a bunch of people. The next main person, just to mention, is Letty Lutz, who is a bearded lady who can sing. So he finds her working as like a laundress, and goes in and convinces her to join in as a performer. And he puts up notices all over the city and ends up with a lot of people. And you kind of see...
he asks for unique persons and curiosities.
Absolutely. So there's a man who is fully tatted up from like head to toe, which at that time,
there's
obviously...
like an 8-foot guy.
Yeah, there's a guy who's like 8 foot, and he ends up putting him in stilts. And then there's a guy who is overweight and ends up like stuffing him with like a pillow to make it even more. So he's like aggrandizing on...
He's exaggerating their features.
Yeah, on curiosities that already exist.
And we see him go through interviews, and at the end, he's built a team, and people start to show up to the show.
Absolutely.
And people go in, and we get the song "Dreaming with Your Eyes Wide Open," where PT kind of encourages and builds the confidence of his motley crew of performers, and it's their very first day. The tickets have been sold, but like doors haven't been opened yet.
Yes.
And accidentally through the curtains, what?
Oh, I was just going to mention the only other people that we should mention who are integral to plot are the trapeze artists.
Yes. Have we met them yet?
Yeah, so they're a part of the main group. Now,
we have. You're right.
They're African-American trapeze artists who are a brother-sister pair. And there's like a little bit of conversation about like people aren't going to like seeing us perform with your other white performers, considering the time that they were in. And P.T. Barnum is like, fuck them.
Oh, yeah.
And hires them anyway. But so there's two trapeze performers because obviously the woman comes back.
At the climax of the song, the group of performers stumbles through the curtains, and suddenly they're in front of the audience, and they're unsure, and the audience is unsure. But PT encourages Tom on his horse to get out there and give them a show, and he smacks the horse's butt, and
and Letty starts
curtains
to
fly
sing
open, and the show. Yeah, and the show begins, and they take over. They only have one ring, but there's butts in seats, and the audience loves it. They're singing along.
Yeah.
And there is not only a theater critic in the show, but we do see naysayers, protesters of the show as well, who are disparaging against the quote-unquote freaks who they don't want in their town.
Yes.
And
Bitch,
there's
they were
a little
here
bit
anyway.
where
It's just you see them now. Calm down.
Yeah, but the theatrical review comes out, and it's described as like humbug, and it's not a good review. And P.T. Barnum is like, hey, that's print that bad review in every paper, and anyone who brings it gets a half price ticket. Yeah, and so the shows sell out.
And he ends up having a bit of a confrontation with the critic. So the critic's name is James
Once
Bennett.
the song ends.
Yes, so the song ends, and they have a bit of a confrontation. And it's interesting because, Bennett sort of claims that it's not good quality. He's selling lies. And Barnum's like, people know that I'm selling them lies. They're coming to... because they know that it's fantastical, and ends up with like a perfect zinger at the end, which is a theater critic who can't find joy in a theater. Now who's a fraud?
Now who's the fraud?
Oof.
And in that review, Bennett called Barnum's show a circus, and Barnum says, you know what? That's a great fucking name for this. And so he rebrands the show as Barnum's Circus, and it's a big sign out front.
Absolutely. So we cut to a little bit later, and he's leading his wife and his girls to like a surprise.
A weekend in the country.
Yes. And turns out...
They go to the country.
They go to the country. They go to Connecticut. Turns out he has bought that old mansion that he and Charity used to explore when they were kids, and had it fully renovated. And so now they live, they're moving in, and it's a massive place, and it's fairly close to Charity's parents, which Charity does make a note of. She's like, is this also partially because you want to prove my parents wrong about you? And he's like, yes, and
yes, 100%.
And he's excited that he's finally providing her the life that he had always imagined he would be able to.
And he gives his daughter ballet shoes.
Yes.
He gives his daughter ballet shoes because they can afford it. And like, this is the life that he promised it. And his daughter spins into a ballet recital. Yay! And at this recital, across the ballroom, Barnum sees Zac Efron. He sees Zac Efron, and he asks, like, who is that? And his wife tells him,
and his
that's
wife's
Philip
like,
Carlisle.
oh, that's Zac Efron.
That's Zac Efron. And he's a producer. He's a producer. He's a playwright producer.
Yeah.
And Barnum gets an idea,
Hey.
but he's interrupted by seeing the other ballet brats be mean to his daughter and say she smells like peanuts. They're being classist, essentially, because they are upper crust.
Like, quote unquote, old money, which the country is less than 100 years old at this point. So, like, grow up.
Like, get over yourselves. But as they walk out of the recital, she says she's quitting, and Barnum knows, what? You were the best dancer up on that stage. But she says ballet takes years of practice. It's not something you can fake like your circus.
Oof, brutal. So he then leaves.
And later that night, he and his wife are talking, and she says, like, hey, you know what? New York society will never accept us, and that's totally okay. I don't need that. We don't need that. Barnum needs that.
Yeah.
So he meets Carlisle outside of his latest play,
Yeah.
and they get to talking because Carlisle, the show bombed, but he has no trouble selling tickets because he's selling virtue.
Absolutely.
And he's heard of Barnum. He says, like, I've seen the crowds at your shows. And Barnum tells him, hey, I want to go after the highbrow acts. Like, I want you to help me learn how to appeal to the upper crust.
And so they end up going to a bar together. And this song is so good. So Philip's hesitant to join because, you know, he would be kicked out of his circles, his parents wouldn't approve, yada yada. And so Barnum starts to sing the song The Other Side, I believe it's called.
The Other Side.
To convince him. And man, the use of space in this song is fantastic. So it's just those two and the bartender. And they use the entirety of the space up on tables, on chairs, on stools, on the bar, back down. It's so dynamic. And also, I love a burgundy top hat. Zac Efron has a burgundy top hat, and I deeply want it. And I've never worn a top hat in my life, and I never would, but I want one anyway.
Okay, one of my biggest gripes that is just a constant gripe every time I watch this movie is, okay. Hugh Jackman has his pitch verse where he's like pitching Zac Efron on running away and joining the circus. Yes. Risk it all and see what's on the other side of your white picket fence.
Yes.
And when Carlisle, Zac Efron, starts to turn his attention and like seriously consider it, he goes, okay, well, yeah, but I'm a savvy businessman. So what percentage of this would I get if I join? Yeah. And Hugh Jackman and Barnum goes, I think he says like
5 or something?
5. And Carlisle's like, oh, okay, 18. And they talk their way and they whittle it down. And they agree on 10.
Yeah.
Zac Efron, you got so swindled. You got so
But let's be
swindled.
very clear that P.T. Barnum is the swindler of this movie. He is a professional swindler.
Hook, line, and swindler.
And poor Zac Efron is not a swindler. We do have a swindler, and then our waiter is that bartender. That bartender is doing his job. And it's great. Yeah.
The song ends with Carlisle agreeing to shakes on the 10%. Yep. He follows Barnum to the circus, and at the circus, at the end of the song, he catches eyes with Anne, the trapeze artist, and the world goes into slow motion.
Hell yes. And it's played by Zendaya.
Yeah, and he gets introduced to her and her brother backstage, but suddenly there's a problem because there's a boycotting protest outside. They have lit torches, then the show gets another bad review from Bennett. Yeah, like tensions are rising. It's not just one protest. They are getting more, they are getting larger. Yes. And so,
in response
you know what? Carlisle
to this,
gets a great idea to go to have the entire circus go meet the Queen of England. Yeah. And that will surely, it's supposed to appeal to the upper crust and like maybe get rid of some protesters.
Well, yeah, because I mean, I guess like if the Queen says it's fine, then like really what do you have to complain about? But like also, I don't know what America's sentiment towards Queen Victoria was.
Yeah. And there is a moment where Zendaya's character Anne says, well, are all of us going to go? Or is it just the white men in this room of Barnum and Carlisle? And Carlisle has her back. And he goes, you know what? if we'll tell the queen that we all go or none of us go.
Yeah.
Cut to England.
Cut to fucking
How the
England.
fuck did they get to England?
Great question. I'm assuming a boat. Because that's the only option.
Yeah, we just don't see it. Suddenly they are in England.
Yeah.
The circus is presented to the queen as all proper society is, and Tom Thumb does not get the memo and makes a really
a sassy joke that would be funny in
really
any other
sassy.
scenario except the queen.
Yes. But she
the queen laughs.
is taken aback. And then she laughs, and everyone like laughs, like they've been given permission to laugh because the queen laughs.
Exactly. So they have their presentation, and it goes well. And so they're sort of at the back of the room because there's more people who are being introduced to the queen on this day. I'm assuming it's just like a bunch of like really famous performers from all over the world, because the next person who's introduced is a very famous Swedish singer named Jenny Lind, she walks in and Barnum is like immediately entranced, and he hasn't even seen her face. Like it's just it's her presence, her dress, her like gown, it's like the whole thing. She draws attention in the room and feels very regal as she's walking down, and he's suddenly like, that is my next opportunity to really pull me further into the, like, solidify my position in the upper crust. And so he like grabs Philip and is like, you're gonna introduce me. And Philip is like, I've never met her, so I don't know what the proper way to do that is. And Barnum's like, don't give a shit, here we go. And pulls over and forces Philip to introduce him to someone that Philip has never met.
No, but Barnum turns on the charm, introduces himself, and Jenny Lind, even in Sweden, has heard of him, and he pitches on her to come to New York and join his show, and he's so not suave about it, in just like a very abrasive American way. And Carlisle's just pounding champagne, just like so stressed
chugging champagne. He is like at his most swindly in this scene.
Yes, he is. And he says like, hey, I want to give my audiences something real instead of hoodwinked. That's you, Toots.
And
he doesn't say Toots, but that's the energy.
Yeah, and then Jenny is like, have you even heard me sing? And Philip at first is like, oh, of course we loved it. And he's like, absolutely not. But if you're half as good as everyone says you are, I would love to have you. Like, it's so funny. Yeah. This man commits 100% with zero facts, only vibes.
Cut to later. Jenny's performing for all in attendance, and the performers don't get to go to Barnum's box. They can't sit in his box. They're too visible.
Specifically, Barnum says not to seat them there. It's not like the theater managers are like, oh no, we can't. Barnum is the one who's like, no, don't put them there. It's too visible. So
they have to stand in the back.
Yes, which is off-putting. And so Philip goes to stand with them in the back because he kind of makes a face when Barnum says that, like, oh, dude, that's not chill. And so he goes and stands in the back with them.
And then the curtain goes up on Jenny.
Yes. And she sings the song Never Enough. During this song, a lot of things happen. So while she's singing, Philip is standing next to Anne, the trapeze artist, in the back, and they like do that whole like touching pinkies thing that turns into the full like handhold, which is adorable. But later on in the song, his parents turn around and see him, and he like lets go of her hand like a coward.
Yeah. I have a gripe.
Yes.
And I think you might agree with me. So Jenny is coined this, the Swedish
Nightingale
Skylark,
or something?
I think they call the Swedish Nightingale, something like that.
Yeah.
She's supposed to be a really famous opera singer, but the song they have her sing is pure pop. It's pure pop.
It's 100%
They didn't need
pop.
to say she's an opera singer. They could have just said she's a singer. I always find that very like, not disingenuous, but it doesn't line up. And then I found her body language.
Oh my God, I wrote that down too.
Performance.
I was like,
so
what are
awkward.
her hand movements?
No one choreographed hand movements for her.
And like, listen, I personally deeply understand the struggle of singing and being so focused on your vocals that you forget how hands work. I understand that. But this is also a movie, so like figure it out.
Like, it just could have been, I always think this song could have been so much more dynamic, and it's this really awkward cut of wide shots and mid shots and close-ups, and
her, honestly,
and they're always close up on her when she's like sustaining a note, so you're not actually even getting much movement.
And
it's just,
I think if they had just done a full Christine of her aria of just like kind of a doll's hand positions and then just held that and sang, or even like she's an opera singer, hands clasped in front of her while singing and then maybe at certain moments reaching out, but she was like pushing with her hands. It was very bizarre. But
it always takes me out of it. But the audience
loves it. And then it finishes, and then I asked Anna a question, which is the whole night one song?
Just the one song?
That makes no sense. The whole night. People got dressed up for this. People like spent money and got on a carriage with a horse to get here. And this bitch sings one 4-minute song and they're like, yes, that is enough. Homeward, James.
I think it was, listen, I gave it some thought, and the
you have no shaky sweaters. It just is what it is.
Okay. When do they get back from England?
Before this, because this is in America.
So this is in America.
Yeah.
Okay. So that answers my question. So during this finale of this song, Charity and their daughters are in the audience, and Charity sees her husband watching Jenny with such intense focus and adoration, and she doesn't do anything about it, but it's kind of like filing that away for later.
Yeah.
Yes, but maybe the whole night is just that one song. But
ridiculous.
Cut to the reception afterwards. Yeah. Barnum has Jenny meet his wife and his daughters, and the theater critic is there, and he approves. He's like, "Hey, you found a real thing." Yeah. And then Charity's father is there.
Oh no!
And they have not seen each other. They have not met their grandchildren. No. And he just goes up. Charity's father goes up to Barnum. He goes, "He's done. You've done well." Barnum introduces Jenny to them, and then he's really shitty to the father, but the father's shitty back.
He tries to shame them.
Yeah.
But the dad ends up like kind of getting the last word. I don't remember exactly what he says, but the dad leaves, and Charity is so embarrassed by her husband's behavior towards her father that she leaves with the girls. But Barnum ends up staying at this after party with Jenny.
Yes.
Now, Jenny then sort of gives a little bit of backstory. So she has a toast with the crowd and then kind of pulls Barnum aside and tells him, like, I understand what that confrontation...
what it feels like to not belong.
Yeah, was about, because I also started... I think she was the daughter of a prostitute, I think.
She was born out of wedlock.
Oh, that's what it was. Sorry. So she was born out of wedlock, and so kind of had to struggle for acceptance into society for her entire life, and so sort of relates with him on that feeling of having to push boundaries to even get noticed.
Yes. And they bond over that, and like that's something that they shared that they didn't know before. Yeah.
And then Barnum's a dick again.
Circus. Yeah. Then the rest of the circus, who was there and in attendance to see Jenny sing, wants to come in and meet her. And Letty's like, damn, that lady can sing. Yeah. And Barnum's like, no, you have a show to go to. And he locks them out, even though they definitely have time. And it's really hurtful. He literally slams a door in their face.
Absolutely. And so Letty...
Like he's ashamed of them.
Absolutely. And so Letty turns around and everyone's kind of dejected, and she starts to sing the song This Is Me, which is like my moment of joy is this song. And so they end up going out back out to the streets to head back to the theater because they have a performance later that night. And there's all of those protesters outside the circus.
Well, first Letty leads the troupe through like the rest of the theater, like the antechamber.
Yes.
And like the crowds look at them dressed up in all their finery, and the song again, like, this is me, I'm proud of who I am. But then you're right, they get to outside the theater and they are met with protesters and they dance.
You gotta dance to fight oppression.
That's how you fight. That's how you fight oppression. That's how you fight judgment, is you gotta dance at them.
Glorious.
And they do the entire show without Barnum.
Yeah. And it goes
this is
just
the
fine.
If you know a song from this show, it's this number.
Oh God, it's so good. And my homework is going to be the reading version of this.
Yeah, that's my homework too.
Cool. So
cut to
Barnum
trying to upheave his entire life.
Yeah.
He wants to do a national tour with just Jenny. And we
dumb.
see him and Carlisle walking around the theater. Carlisle trying to talk this man out of this insane business venture. Like, it's so expensive. He's risking literally everyone.
He's like, a 60-piece orchestra is going to travel with us. And I'm like, what a horrible financial choice.
And he leaves Carlisle in charge.
Absolutely. And he leaves without saying goodbye to the rest of the troupe.
Yeah.
So he goes.
Cut to that evening. We see Anne going to the theater to pick up a ticket, and the usher, the box office attendant says, "Oh, there's 2 tickets," and she goes, "No, there should just be 1. Mr. Barnum left just 1 ticket for me." And then Zac Efron is behind her, and he goes, "There should be 2. I didn't think you would come if I gave my name.
Yeah, if I invited you.
Yeah, and it's a date.
It's a date.
She's never been to the theater.
Really
she takes his offered arm,
and so they start walking.
She's
up
so excited.
They start walking up the stairs, and who is coming down the stairs but Philip's parents? And they say some nasty shit. And so they say some really gross things about Anne, and she, like, her entire body kind of like, her face drops, her like shoulders cave in on like she's kind of like protecting herself, and she turns and leaves the theater immediately, like not even pretending to stand around while she's being insulted. And Philip immediately like
goes off on his parents,
calls out his parents, and is like, your behavior is unacceptable, and how dare you speak to her like that. And he goes to leave, and they're like, "Oh, if you leave, then you won't be accepted in society." And he's like, "Ha, cool," and then leaves to go after her.
Yeah, and she's gone back to the theater to practice.
Yeah.
And he goes up to her and he tells her, like, "Listen, my parents are small-minded people. Why do you shouldn't care what they think." And she goes like, "This is what I've known my entire life. It is not that easy as like turning it off." Yeah. And then we get the duet, "Rewrite the Stars."
Hell yeah. And then I have, so this is like a visually beautiful song of these 2 people in love who are being separated by society, Romeo and Juliet, yada yada. But they're in an empty like performance space, and because she's an aerialist and a trapeze artist, there's these ropes that are like from the ceiling that like change the levels and move this into like a 3D thing. And then I have in all caps, "I want to be yoinked out of a romantically tense situation for effect." So like there's moments where they're like so close to each other and about to kiss, and then it's like those old school like Three Musketeers movies where it's like you cut the rope and then ride the chandelier rope up. It's the same effect. I love it. 100%. It's my favorite effect.
That's also just not how trapezes work.
Not
but
at
anyway,
all.
It's a beautiful song.
It's also
but unfortunately,
such a bad rope
doesn't end
for aerial tricks. It is like a thick, scratchy, horribly like hemp rope.
Grace, this is olden times.
Yes.
They don't get together at the end of the song.
Boo.
They don't kiss. She leaves him alone because they're too different.
It can never
work.
From
too different. Can never work. Cut to Charity and Barnum having an argument in their house of how she's like, "You are trying. You are setting yourself up for failure because nothing will ever be enough for you. When will our life be enough for you?" And he's like, "You don't understand. I come from the wrong side of the tracks." And she begs him to not go on tour, to not, like, just to stay and be happy with what they have. They have an amazing life, but he still goes on tour.
Yeah, he leaves.
And as he leaves, I don't think we've said, Michelle Williams plays his wife, Charity.
Yes.
And she sings the song Tightrope as he leaves. And we see life going on without him.
Yeah.
Their mismatched lives of her staying home with the children and an empty chair where he would sit for dinner, and him going on tour with Jenny and like thunderous applause. And
Philip dealing with the
also,
angry crowds in the circus. And trying
which is a direct contrast from how Jenny is received.
Exactly. So this song is, my favorite shot was in this song, which was whenever Charity is dancing through the hallways and like imagining them, like, and then when her and
dancing
her husband
together
were dancing together at the beginning of their marriage, and you only really see it in silhouette through these big open windows as she goes down this hallway, and then as it gets into one window, it's like the window, the curtains, the diaphanous curtains, breeze with her as she passes, and her husband disappears into the curtain, and it's all like transparent. It's like some of the best editing. It's like I was thinking about that like days after, and I was like, that is the most incredible shot, and like it emotionally hit me for no reason.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Beautiful.
And it also ends with her alone.
Yeah.
We cut to the tour. Jenny's getting great reviews. Her and Barnum are in like a hotel suite, and they toast with champagne to great reviews.
And then there's prolonged eye contact.
Prolonged eye contact. Yeah, they have a capital M moment, and Barnum, to his credit, is like, these are not appropriate feelings. I am a married man.
To be clear,
I'm going to leave the tour.
He does nothing romantic. So there's no handhold, there's no kiss. They're just sitting next to each other on a couch, but there is eye contact and a moment, and he calls it and says,
and
no.
They are alone
They're
together.
alone together. And he clocks it and says, this is not what I'm looking for. And she threatens to quit.
Pitches a fit. Yeah. She pitches a fit. And Grace asked me why this happens. She pitches a fit. I think the way I can rationalize it, which doesn't mean I approve of this behavior, is that this is a very different relationship than he has with anyone else in his circus. He does not go on tour with any of them. It is just the two of them. They have spent so much time together. He hand-selected her for this. She has a lot riding on this. And so she was more emotionally invested in their partnership, in their relationship. And then when he drops her being like, I'm going to leave now, you're on your own, it hits her that I am just another performer for you. I actually don't mean any more to you than the elephants in your circus.
She should grow up. She got so much money from this. I'm going to talk about how much money she made in this later.
I know. And it's not even real.
And he made no promises. And like, grow up. Yeah. Every adult should learn how to manage rejection. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah.
But she's let her heart get involved, and she said she threatens to quit as well.
Now. Anyway,
she threatens to quit the tour, and he says, if you don't finish the tour, this will financially ruin me. Because again, he bet everything on this.
He's wasting so much money. So then it's
paying off for now.
So then we cut to the performance. She sings the song very tearfully, emotionally, dramatically. And as normal, at the end of every show, she like gestures for him to join her. So they take the final bow together, and he comes out, and they take the bow, and cameras are flashing, and she turns and kisses him full on the mouth. And it is photographed by the press.
Photographed. Yes. Yeah. And he breaks the kiss, like startled. Like, what did you do that for? And she goes, that was goodbye. And she walks off stage.
This bitch. All right.
This bitch. And then she is never seen again.
Never seen again. Good. Get out. Control yourself. Anyway, back at the circus.
Cut to New York. Yeah. The hecklers are still outside, and they get into the theater. Carlisle asks them to leave. Yeah. A fight breaks out.
A punch.
The performers fully fight back. They're just like, charge! But a fire is lit.
Oh my God.
And this is olden times. Everything is wood and straw.
Everything is wood.
This fire being lit coincides with Barnum's train arriving back in New York. He is greeted by his wife and his daughters. He's so happy to see them. And then
ding-a-ling-a-ding-a-ling.
a fire engine drives past with cries of, "It's coming from the circus!"
Yeah, so they run to there, and it is truly, it's not on fire, it's like ablaze. Like the entire building is like about to collapse. They've gotten everyone out, but someone is like, "Wait, where's Anne?" And Philip, who doesn't see her, runs back into the burning building to try and find her. A second later, Anne comes around the corner being like, "I'm fine, I got out through the back." But Philip is still in there and hasn't come out. So Barnum runs in after him to try and save him. And like within like 10 seconds of them running in, the entire thing collapses from the top. Like it's like a 3-story building that falls on top of them. Now, Barnum ends up after this walking out with Philip in his arms, so he was able to rescue him. But Philip has like
very Jean Valjean,
big
carrying
Jean Valjean
Marius
energy.
from us through the sewers.
He's like, this feels familiar. I have done this before.
Bring him home. Bring him home. All right.
So Philip has suffered serious injuries.
Yes. And we see Anne waiting by his bedside.
Yes.
The next day, the circus is capital B burnt to the ground.
Gone.
And Barnum is there with a couple of the other circus people,
Just
like picking through the wreckage.
rubble, yeah.
Yeah, but he's really discouraged. And this fucker Bennett, this motherfucker Bennett, the critic, comes to visit him.
But honestly, he's kind of okay
least
in this interaction.
Except he has an ulterior motive.
Well, yeah.
Yes, he's nice to him. He's like, I never liked your show, but I can't deny that like people left with smiles on their faces. Yeah. Oh, by the way, have you seen the newspaper today?
Right.
You're in it.
Yeah, and it's the picture of him and Jenny kissing.
Yes, it's a photo of like a passion. It's not a photo. It's an illustration of a passionate embrace with the headline, "Jenny Lind quits Barnum scandal."
Yeah.
And if it's in the newspaper, that means his wife knows.
Right. So he sprints to Connecticut. Oh no, this is later. That happens later.
So this is
so he goes home, and sees Charity, who has obviously gotten the newspaper with a suitcase, leaving because also the mansion is being foreclosed upon, because I think what happened is to back Jenny's tour, he put up his house, the mansion, as collateral, and he did that without telling Charity. So Charity leaves with the line, "I never mind the risk, but I mind that you didn't ask me. I would have said yes anyway, but you didn't
We always did it together." Yeah. And also, she says he's not in love with anyone but himself.
Exactly, which is true.
So
she
Barnum's
takes the daughters to
and
her
he
parents'
goes,
house.
Yeah, she's going home.
Yeah.
Just like her father predicted.
Bring him
home. Barnum goes and is sad in the original bar that he first swindled Carlisle into this business venture. And he's drinking his sorrows away. He's not like drinking, but he's sitting there alone in the middle of the day in an empty bar. Yes. Yeah. And Charles, Tom Thumb, comes to visit him at the bar, being like, "I knew I'd find you here." And the rest of the circus crew files in, and he says, like, "Look, if you're here to get paid, there's no money left." And they say, we're not here to get paid. We knew you weren't going to pay us, but we want the show back because
it's not about money. It's about found family.
It's about family. It's about family. And like they built a community out of it. And you're giving up on us, but we need the family back. Yeah. And this is inspiring to him.
Jesus. And so he resolves to build a new show, and he sings the song From Now On.
From now on.
And he's like,
and he'll try again.
Yeah, he's like, "Drinks for everyone." And my response was, "Who's paying for these? You just said you have no money."
no money.
And
I can't pay. That's got big pizza party energy where it's like, I can't afford to pay you for your work, but I'll give you a pizza party.
I have no Christmas bonus, but what do you say to an eighth of a slice of pizza?
Yeah.
And then there's like a
but
picture.
He says in the song, like, I will no longer chase people's approval.
Right. Bullshit. Then he sees a picture of him and his family on the wall, and he was like, Charity, I must go to her. And this is when he runs to Connecticut. Ridiculous.
He fully sprints to Connecticut.
Same energy as Robin Hood swimming from Israel to England.
England. This mother, I have a question. Why was his family's portrait in this bar?
Maybe it was because
his children are in that photo.
You know how the bars will sometimes, like, if famous people go there, or like famous people are like, oh, this is my favorite bar, then they'll put up pictures of the famous celebrities at the bar. I think that's what that was.
At the bar. That is a family. That's not him at the bar, though. That is like a portrait from his house.
I don't know, man. Shaky sweaters.
Cut to Carlisle waking up in the hospital and Barnum arriving at Charity's father's house.
Yes.
Her father answers the door, doesn't look like he's gonna tell, he's like, I want my family back. I'm here to get my family back. And her dad's not gonna tell
her dad's like, tough
him
shit.
where. Yeah, and then his daughters are like, she's at the beach, and he goes to the beach. He goes to the dunes where he and Charity first had that talk at the beginning of the film, and he apologizes, and he says, I'm sorry for wanting to be more than I was.
And Charity's
and it's the most beautiful shot.
Has a moment. Charity,
it's a paid actor.
God, this scarf is like this cobalt blue scarf, and it like perfectly in the wind blows behind her as they kiss and reconcile, and it's like it steals the show.
It steals the show.
So we cut to all of the circus crew are at the burned down theater, kind of waiting for Barnum to show up because he has just gone to the bank to see if he can get more money to rebuild. And he comes back in saying the bank has declined.
Bank said, fuck no.
The bank was like, under no circumstances.
Yeah.
And so
fool me once.
Yeah. Fool me once, fool me twice, fool me thrice. So Philip arrives and Barnum says, yeah, unfortunately I couldn't get the money. I'm so sorry, guys, but it doesn't look like we'll be able to do this. And Philip is like, well, you know, you kept paying me, but I am a rich bitch. So why I would
No, it's not that. That's not what happens. He goes, yeah, I was getting 10%, but I had the good idea to take my cut weekly. Yeah. So I've been getting paid and I've been saving it.
Yeah, because he doesn't have expenses,
willing to invest
he's a rich bitch.
Show. Well, yeah, he is a rich bitch, but he's also a financially savvy bitch.
Correct.
And he is willing to take a gamble on investing in the show if they go in business partners 50-50.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
he does say that I have none of the social standing I had in my life when I started working for you, but I do have joy in my life again.
Yes, absolutely. And so they're talking about the best way to do this because they can't afford Manhattan real estate. Relatable.
Yeah, terrible investment.
So they're like, well, hey, listen, like, buying a building is crazy expensive, but just buying a plot of land down by the docks, we don't even need like wood and shit. All we need is a tent. And so they end up transforming Barnum Circus into this open air tent, three-ring circus. And it's a huge success.
And we get a reprise of the opening number, which is The Greatest Show. Yeah. You're right. It's expanded to 3 rings. There are butts in every seat.
Absolutely.
Barnum is in the spotlight. Everyone is performing. And then he goes backstage and he gives Carlisle his top hat and has him take over as the ringleader. And Carlisle's like, what are you doing? And Barnum says, I want to watch my girls grow up.
Yeah. And so he leaves.
So Carlisle takes over and has his own verse.
It does.
And I just love Zac Efron's verse.
And then he makes out with
his voice is so different. Yeah. And Barnum leaves the show so that he can go be there for, I'm going to give the context
moment
first.
On is my giggle. Starting with the elephant.
Barnum has to go to his daughter's dance recital. He hasn't made it to a single one, but he goes because he makes it. And how does he get there, Grace?
By elephant! Okay. Okay, so first off, that elephant was working, sir. You have a circus with acts that were currently performing, and you pulled an elephant out being like, I got this. Sir, get a cab. You're doing fine. So he shows up to this recital on top of an elephant while it's snowing. This is not a good environment for an elephant. How are you going to valet park an elephant? I don't understand. My God.
Also, if you were like, oh, I'm gonna be late, you know what you shouldn't take?
An elephant!
Extremely slow moving.
My God.
I'm sure elephants can move fast, and I'm sure Rick
not
can
through
tell
the
us how
streets
fast
of New
elephants
York.
move, but not through the streets of Manhattan. Take a taxi.
Take a taxi.
Anyway.
Get on a horse.
He shows up. He
like
makes
Jack
it to
Kelly.
his daughter's ballet recital, which is at like the fucking biggest theater.
It's too
and
many
he's
people.
There,
it is
and the song.
too many people for a child's recital.
The song gets nice and quiet and intimate, and he and his wife are watching their daughter Caroline be like the lead in the ballet recital, and then it pans over to the set dressing, and their other daughter is a tree. And there's no other children as trees. But she looks so happy to be included.
She's like waving twigs. It's
It broke
so
Grace.
funny. It's not supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be a poignant moment. But instead of having their other daughter sit with them to watch their sister, they're like, oh no, you have to take your sister with you. And we're going to force this dance company to have our daughter, who's not a part of their classes, to be a part of this. And no one else is doing this. So we're just going to make her a tree and no one else.
Honestly, if I'm sure the Barnums gave so much
Oh
money to that ballet
It's
company
so
that they're like,
funny.
if you want your daughter
to
be a tree,
Sure.
And that's how the film ends.
That's how the film ends.
That's how
It
the
has
film
the
ends.
same energy of Love Actually, where they're doing the story of baby Jesus, and,
Yes,
and the son's
yes.
like, I'm playing the second lobster. Like,
I'm playing lobster number 2. And that brings us to the end of The Greatest Showman.
great, perfect. No notes. I do have notes, but not that. That was a
I
perfect
have
ending.
several notes. Grace, what'd you think of this movie?
I had a good time. I do have notes.
You have
I have
suggestions.
But in general, I had a good time. I thought the songs were very fun. I've already added a few to my playlists. Like, it's
Yeah.
just, it did instill in me sort of the joy that I get, mostly because there were so many good group numbers. I love a group number.
Yeah. I always think of my friend Val, who went to a spin class when this movie came out, or around the time that the soundtrack was really popular, and she said they played the This Is Me song, and she said that she just started weeping.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
So yes, so I did enjoy watching it. I'm glad we watched it. I'm glad this is our opener. It was such a it was a hoot and a half, and
It was a hoot and a half.
yeah, so I did enjoy it. I would watch it again. Like, it was a good time.
Yeah, I acknowledge it for its flaws.
Oh yeah.
It was entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we do a little
Yeah.
dramaturgy report? Dramaturgy report. Okay, so first things first, P.T. Barnum was ugly. I said I would start with that. No. Yes, that is true. But this was
we should
directed
post his
by...
picture.
If you don't believe us, look him up. This was directed by Michael Gracie, who is an Australian filmmaker and visual effects artist. This was his directorial debut.
Wild.
And a little bit on how this got made, which Grace is going to talk about, I'm sure, but...
only a little bit.
Michael Gracie's background is in VFX and music production, and then he started to pivot from that to direct music videos and then commercials. He's Australian. He met Hugh Jackman on set of a Australian commercial that he was directing, and that is how they met. And Hugh Jackman says, like, oh, I'd love to do a picture with you. And Michael Gracie was like, yeah, I'm sure you tell everybody
Hell
that.
yeah.
And then Hugh Jackman followed up because Hugh Jackman was already in talks for a Barnum project.
Absolutely.
And they made it happen. Gracie's next thing was executive producing Elton John's biopic Rocket Man, which was also great. And then he's just in development for a lot of stuff. So he doesn't have a huge resume because this was his directorial debut and he's best known for commercials. But
I'm curious what big thing he does next.
His commercial reel is stacked, and it's very in alignment with how this film was.
Okay.
Like the music videos and the commercials are all very big, very splashy, very music focused.
Yes.
So it tracks.
Interesting.
The cinematographer is a fucking legend. He's an Irish cinematographer named Seamus McGarvey. He began his career as a stills photographer before going to film school at the University of Westminster in London. And let me rattle off what this man has fucking done.
Amazing.
Because what hasn't he done? We're going to start small. We're going to go with Along Came Polly, Charlotte's Web. We're going to then move into some heavy hitters, that he was nominated for Oscars for, which is Atonement, Anna Karenina. He also did We Need to Talk About Kevin, High Fidelity. Follow that up with The Avengers, 50 Shades of Grey, Godzilla, Bad Times at the El Royale, and then most recently, Cyrano and Wonka.
Wild. That makes
He's
sense.
doing
Wonka
just
does have
fine.
similar vibes, tone, like texturally, I guess, to this.
Yeah.
I haven't watched Wonka.
All of those track.
Yeah.
That is Too Long Didn't Read. The big budget, splashy, whether it's an action film like Avengers, whether it's it tracks.
Yes.
And that's it.
Amazing.
He's a fucking legend.
Hell yeah. So the writers for this screenplay were Jenny Bix and Bill Condon. So Jenny is a screenwriter and producer, and her most notable work is she was a writer for Sex and the City. She also was the writer of an ABC series, Men in Trees, which gives the same vibes to me as 50 Million Frenchmen. I don't know why. She also wrote the screenplay for the 2003 film What a Girl Wants and The Greatest Showman. Bill Condon was brought on to sort of tighten and clean up the script that she had written, and they worked together on sort of editing it into what it ended up being. He is ridiculously famous. He is known for writing and or directing like Gods and Monsters, Chicago, Kinsey, Dreamgirls, Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 1 and 2, and the live-action Beauty and the Beast. So he is definitely well-versed in terms of bringing a musical to what a musical needs to be brought to a screen as opposed to a stage. So I think it was quite smart of them to bring him on board to sort of help tighten up and work with Jenny Bix to create the script that they ended up using. Now there's a couple of stage musicals that are about P.T. Barnum, but aren't directly related to The Greatest Showman as a production. So I'm not going to talk about any of those because it's just the same source material. It's not the same story. Now, how this got made. So during rehearsals for the Academy Awards where Hugh Jackman was the host, where it was like that big musical number, Lawrence, Mark, and Bill Condon compared Hugh Jackman to P.T. Barnum. And after that, they talked to him about it, and he was like, I'd be super down to do that. So they ended up, Jenny Bix was a writer for that ceremony, like for his big presentation. So that's part of the reason why she was brought on as well. The project was first announced in 2009 with him already set as the title role. And 2 years later in 2011, that was when Michael Gracie was chosen to direct. And then another 2 years after that, they hired the lyricists Pasek and Paul to write the songs. And I'll talk about them a little bit later. Now, at this point, they were still looking for producers and trying to, garner the money for essentially a fully new new musical, not like a reimagining like Hairspray or Dreamgirls or Chicago. And they were having a little bit of trouble, so they ended up having this performed read-through in front of producers to try and greenlight the film and get further money. So Pasek and Paul approached Jeremy Jordan to sing the part of Philip Carlyle, since he had recorded the demos for everything a year earlier. Now, the day before the read-through, man, is scheduling medical things difficult, because the day before the read-through, Hugh Jackman had nasal surgery and was ordered to not sing. So they asked Jeremy Jordan to sing the part of not only Carlyle, but also P.T. Barnum, which would make that duet of theirs very difficult for the one person singing. While Hugh Jackman just acted out the scenes, and Jeremy Jordan agreed. But then once they got to like not the final song, but like the penultimate song, the From Now On, Hugh Jackman was so moved that he disobeyed and began singing along, and then his nose started bleeding. This is also the reading which had the very famous rendition of This Is Me, which is Anna and I's homework, which was deeply emotional and like moved me to tears, not even having seen the movie. And so this reading is what resulted in the film being greenlit. Now, Pasek and Paul, they're a songwriting duo that has composed a bunch for stage, musical theater, films, and television. They did A Christmas Story, Dogfight, Edges, Dear Evan Hansen, and James and the Giant Peach.
Yeah.
They've had original songs that were featured on Smash, in La La Land. They got Golden Globes and Academy Awards for City of Stars for Greatest Showman. They got the Tony Award for Best Original Score for Dear Evan Hansen. They also got just recently in 2022, they won the Tony Award for Best Musical for serving as producers for A Strange Loop. Normally, Pasek is the one who writes the lyrics and Paul writes the music, but they honestly are full collaborators and share the credit for both elements. So I'm sure it's a hugely, back and forth process of writing between the two of them. But, you can definitely hear like the poppy style that they have is evident in all of the music that they do. I didn't have a lot for actors and casting because Hugh Jackman was kind of like in it from the beginning, and I always feel a little bit weird about going through actors whose career has not yet ended. So I'm going to talk a little bit about P.T. Barnum as a person and like what his actual life was, because we've referenced a lot that he wasn't a great person, and I do just want to acknowledge the actual history of who this person was and the contributions he did make, and also the horrible shit that he did. So and I'm giving obviously a shortened version, and if you want more exhaustive background, feel free to look that up, and I can post something as well. So Phineas Taylor Barnum was an American showman, businessman, and politician who was remembered for promoting hoaxes and founding the Barnum and Bailey Circus with James Anthony Bailey, who Philip Carlyle was very, very loosely based on. He was also an author, a publisher, philanthropist, although he said of himself, quote, "I am a showman by profession, and all the gilding shall make nothing else of me." According to his critics, his personal aim was to put money in his own coffers, and the most famous adage, "there's a sucker born every minute," has been frequently attributed to him, but there's no evidence that he actually said that. So it's kind of like the Marie Antoinette "let them eat cake." It's like the phrase that is most connected with them, but there's no actual evidence that either of those people said those famous lines. So Barnum started as a small business owner in his 20s. He had like a weekly newspaper before he moved to New York. He started his first variety troupe called Barnum's Grand Scientific and Musical Theater. Love it. We love a combination. Soon after, he purchased Scudder's American Museum and renamed it after himself, and he used this as a platform to promote a lot of curiosities and hoaxes. His first two were the Fiji Mermaid, which was like the half of a monkey and half of a fish put together. And then also under his stage name, General Tom Thumb, who we've talked about, Charles, who's a part of this movie as well. In 1850, he promoted the American tour of the opera singer Jenny Lind and paid her $1,000 a night for 150 nights. Now that was $1,000.
What real money is that?
That was $1,000 in 1850. You know what? Which I would take now in today money. I would take $1,000 because that's $150,000. It's equivalent in today money to about $36,000 a night.
I'm going to walk straight into the Hudson.
So, yeah, that whole thing of Carlisle being like, this is a bad investment.
It was a terrible financial
horrible
investment.
Yes. So, anyway, it didn't work out for different reasons, not because they made out in front of people, but like it did not go as well as he wanted. He ended up trying to be like going on a lecture tour and being like a speaker, and his museum at this point added like America's first aquarium, which is very cool. He also served 2 terms in the Connecticut legislature. So that happened. So he spoke before the legislature in support of abolishing slavery during his 2 terms in the Connecticut legislature. He was elected as mayor of Bridgeport, Connecticut for a while, so that was interesting as well. And he was instrumental in the inception of the Bridgeport Hospital and was its first president. Now, he didn't enter into the circus business until he was 60 years old. So, this was wild. Yeah, it was not his full life. So
he was not young and hot.
No, he was not huge, jacked man. So he established P.T. Barnum's Grand Traveling Museum, Menagerie, Caravan, and Hippodrome. It's a mouthful of a statement. So it was a traveling circus, and he ended up merging with James Bailey and ended up shortening it to Barnum and Bailey. So this was the first circus to display 3 rings. So the primary attraction when it started was an African elephant that he had purchased from the London Zoo, and he had a lot of acts. Charles, General Tom Thumb, continued with him and performed there. He continued growing the circus in spite of a lot of fires, train disasters, and other setbacks. So they had a traveling circus. They would travel around the country in an effort to bring this to more people outside of New York. It was recoined Barnum and Bailey, Greatest Show on Earth, and it ended up touring the world. He was one of the first circus owners to move circus by train, which was a suggestion by Bailey, and was probably the first to own his own train. And he became known as the Shakespeare of advertising because of his innovative and impressive ideas in this business venture. In 2017, the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus announced that their doors were closing forever due to decreasing attendance and growing public opposition to their mistreatment of animals. So the last show of Barnum and Bailey Circus was in May of 2017, which is very interesting then that this movie came out 6 months later. So that's who he was, and I do want to talk about what's truly omitted from this is P.T. Barnum did not always have, yes, he spoke against slavery later in his life, but his first attraction was a woman named Joyce Heth, who was an African-American woman who he purchased in 1835 from a plantation in Kentucky. She was billed as the 161-year-old nurse of George Washington, and so he wrote a bunch of fake anecdotes for her to tell about Washington, which she did, and she ended up dying about a year or 2 into the tour, after which he sold her body to a surgeon to perform an autopsy and sold tickets to the autopsy. So this man was very much about whatever it was that would make
Turning a
him
profit.
money, regardless
Yeah.
of the dignity of a person.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my biggest gripe with this movie, is that they brush on the idea of him being cruel to his performers, but wave it off by the end with a happy ending. And that's not who this guy was. This guy was not a good person in that definition. So I just want to acknowledge that, because the movie doesn't.
Yeah, very much not.
Yes. So that's what I got.
Okay. In terms of reviews, reception, and release, this film took 7 years to produce.
Yeah.
It had its premiere, wildly, on December 8th, 2017, aboard the RMS Queen Mary 2 while it was docked in New York City.
Crazy.
It was originally scheduled for a December 25th release the year prior, but then it was pushed back from 2016 to 2017. It was supposed to be Christmas Day, then it ultimately opened on December 20th, 2017.
I wonder if it had opened that year earlier, how that would have affected ticket sales for the circus.
Possibly.
Yeah. Anyway.
It spent 219 days in theatrical release.
Yeah.
It did not leave theaters until July 26th, 2018.
Crazy.
It made a total of $435 million worldwide, having had only an $84 million budget. It is the third highest grossing musical ever in North America and also globally.
What is the highest grossing musical?
I don't know.
Okay, never mind. Sorry.
Don't ask me that. I don't know that off the top of my head. But in terms of reviews, it had mixed leaning positive reviews. I pulled some quotes that were positive of, like, The Greatest Showman is a feel-good movie the holiday season needs. Remember, it came out December 20th.
Yeah.
Wildly entertaining, a joyously uplifting potpourri of visual resplendence, stylish choreography, and solid gold magic. Then there were some other less savory reviews, such as the San Francisco Chronicle criticized it and said there's idiotic and then there's magnificent, but the greatest showman is that special thing that sometimes happens. It's magnificently idiotic. It is an awful mess, but it's flashy. Vanity Fair called it a highly fictionalized musical biopic. You're not wrong.
Yep.
And then this is my favorite one from The New Yorker. The New Yorker said that there is a sort of poetic injustice in the fact that The Greatest Showman, based on the life of P.T. Barnum, the long-famed Prince of Humbug, should be largely fabricated out of synthetic cloth.
That's actually so funny.
It's very, very ironic.
Apropos. All right.
Okay, singing and dancing.
Yes.
I thought the singing was phenomenal. My only peeve was that Jenny Lind was supposed to be an opera singer, and that is not an operatic song.
Well, and I'll talk a little bit about that, because Rebecca Ferguson, who played Jenny Lind, was dubbed by Lauren Allred. So I just want to acknowledge Lauren's work there. Rebecca had studied music and admits that she can carry a tune, but she didn't. It was decided that they wanted like a bit of a stronger voice for what was considered to be the best singer in the world. So I think she was the only one that was dubbed. I think everyone else sang their own songs.
Correct.
Yeah. But I mean, I didn't feel like there was a weak link in the singing. Like, there wasn't someone who sang where I was
there was no Russell Crowe.
There was no Russell Crowe.
And then dancing, fucking phenomenal ensemble dancing.
God, I love a
Jack
group
Man
number.
and Zac Efron had decent choreography in that one song that was mostly just like cup choreography.
Yeah.
But the ensemble absolutely brought it. We had dancing in the streets.
We did have dancing in the
in the
streets.
face of protests.
We had dancing
great.
to what did we say? Fuck, I can't remember. It was like dancing to stand up to your enemies or whatever.
Yeah. And it's standing up to
Oppression,
bullying through dance.
Amazing.
Gripes and giggles.
Besides my overarching gripe about P.T. Barnum as a guy, my biggest gripe was that whole night was one song. That whole night's performance was one song. What? What a waste.
Yeah.
What a waste of time.
My gripes are her weird hand choreography for that song. And the original gripe, which is that Carlisle got fucking swindled down from 18 to 10% by a tap dancing Hugh Jackman.
Truly. I mean, we've all fallen
Don't
for
listen,
worse.
We've all fallen for the straight boy in theater. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
So my giggle, as we know, because I couldn't stop laughing, was the fucking kid is a tree at the end.
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna
funny.
piggyback on that. The tree girl, and then my moment of joy is
This is me.
My moment of joy is Other Side, which is the bar song.
Also fantastic. Hell yeah. Do you have fun facts?
I have 2 fun facts.
Amazing.
One is about James Anthony Bailey of Barnum and Bailey, and then the other is about how it's about Les Miserables.
Okay, mine's about fire.
Okay, I'll do my first one.
Cool.
Which is so rather surprisingly, this film does not discuss John Anthony Bailey at all,
Yeah.
who was a co-founder of Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey, who had a major impact, and with Barnum would later go on to create The Greatest Show on Earth. However, some people say that the Carlisle has similarities to Bailey, but he is not an inspiration. He is not supposed to be Bailey in any way.
Yeah.
I think there's just a bit of overlap.
Yes. So this is about the burning of the theater. So during the filming of what would be the last take of the fire at the circus, the staged fire quickly became a real fire when a large when a large light fixture broke off of the roof of the building and fell into the flames. Now, there were 5 retired volunteer firemen that were working as extras that sprang in to help keep the flames at bay until FDNY could respond. So around 150 people were on set at the time, but because active filming had wrapped already, nobody was injured. The entire set was a loss, including $300,000 in lights. Though a huge loss financially, the blaze gave the post-production crew a good idea of what the building would truly look like on fire, and provided the special effects team with valuable footage because the director kept the cameras rolling through the disaster.
That's fucking reckless.
So funny.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
We'll burn it live.
Burn it down.
Damn, that's giving old Chicago vibes. Where they're like, we're gonna burn an entire city block because we don't have CGI.
Because we're just no other way. Gotta.
My final fact is 3 actors in this have all been in Les Miserables. Hugh Jackman, as we know from the movie, Keala Settle, and Will Swenson, who played Barnum's father.
Yeah.
Were all in Les Miserables. Jackman played Jean Valjean in the 2012 film. And then Settle and Swenson were both in 2014 as Madame Thénardier and Javert.
She would be an amazing Madame Thénardier.
Yeah, there's slime tutorials of it online.
Amazing. That's all I got. We've already said our homework is the reading
Watch
version.
The read-through. We're gonna link it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And otherwise, I think that's all she wrote.
I think that's all she wrote. I'm out of breath.
Oh my god. My throat, my voice is sore. I've been yelling.
Yeah, we're going to get a noise complaint. All right. This has been 5678, a movie musical podcast. If you are still listening, holy moly, you made it to the end. Welcome to season 4.
Ka-chow!
Ka-chow. Take care of yourselves and others. We'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.
Bye.
5, 6, 7, 8.
There's no business like show business, like no business I know.